Let's get on to this first topic. It had you going this morning, correct?
Yes, it did.
Because it has to do with money and kids,
Yes,
and chores and piggy banks. Go ahead.
all of that. Okay, so when I was growing up, I didn't really do chores. It wasn't something that my family required of me. I think they tried 1 or 2 times, but I just really wasn't
Only
feeling
child,
it.
right?
I am an only
Different
child.
dynamic than everyone has their own dynamic.
I can't speak to how other people were raised,
Right.
but having an allowance in my family wasn't a thing. So when I read an article this morning that said kids 4 to 14 on average are getting $484 or $454 a year in allowance, that's about $8.74 a week. It was wild to me. Is that wild to you? Like, do you give your kids allowances?
No.
What are they doing to earn these allowances?
How was it wild to you? Did you think that was not enough or too much?
I didn't think it was a lot of money. I didn't.
See,
I'm like,
that's
if
what
you're
shocked
going to
me.
ask me to take the garbage out and wash these dishes
That's
and
funny.
clean my room and I don't know, $8 and some change?
You're like, this is child
Labor laws.
Labor laws. Okay. Well, I had a little bit of a different upbringing. I absolutely had chores that were required of both me and my brother. I absolutely didn't get paid for them because it was just my responsibility in the house. Did I get everything I needed and wanted as a kid? Absolutely. I was blessed beyond measure. I didn't. I don't. It just wasn't a part of our culture. We're here. I don't think my parents still to this day, and I couldn't to this day see myself handing my kids money for doing something. I'm providing the roof over your head.
I feed you every day.
If you cannot take out the trash, because that's just going to make you a better person, knowing how to, like, take care of your surroundings.
Right.
You better darn shut all of the drawers. That was my mom's big thing. Like, shut the drawers. If you pull it out, put it back in. It was
No
just a
socks
thing.
sticking out?
No, my gosh, no, definitely not. Mowing the lawn, my brother did that, taking the trash in and out on trash day in Rancho. I think it was Wednesdays growing up, so like definitely did that. Helped my mom, dusting. I remember specifically she would take the old shirts, like we had old shirts in the house, she would cut them up and that would be our dusting rag, and like it became a thing that we would all do together as a family. That's just to me teaching responsibility, and we didn't get paid, but it's not something that I wish I had or that I miss. But I think $8, $8 more than I ever got. That's cool.
True, but what parents are saying and what I was reading in this article is that the idea of an allowance allows parents to be able to teach their children financial responsibility. And there's something there's something important about that. And I wish that I would have learned those beliefs and behaviors at an earlier age because I read that Cambridge University did a study and it said that kids at 7 know their financial behaviors for the rest of their life.
Like that
So
they
can
don't
you
know the
imagine?
value of a dollar, or they
If you don't know the value of a dollar at 7, it's very unlikely that you're going to learn it at 21 when you get your own bank account. So having an allowance is smart, check, I think that's brilliant. How much are you giving your kids? And now the question is, how are you giving it to them? Is it cash? People don't carry a lot of cash anymore, so they're digitizing their allowance. And
We're
so
gonna
it's like,
load that on
hey,
your
I'm going
card.
to Venmo you, or I'm going to add it to your debit card. Then what are you doing with a kid that has access? I know $8 a week doesn't sound like a lot, but you have access to money online. What is that child doing with the money? That's my question.
Well, it could be another way too. Kids, they know how to buy stuff on the App Store. They know how to buy music. They know how to do all those kinds of things. They know how to buy things on Amazon if they want a toy or they want something else. So they know how to do it, buy video games. So you can give them a gift certificate to say Amazon or Google Play or one of these things, and that's a good way of sort of bridging that, because if they're less than 4, they don't really need a bank account at that point because they can't get a job.
But what about the kids who have had bank accounts their whole life and they're saving this money and their kids or their parents want to teach them, hey, save that $8 that we give you, or practice, what is it, the 80-20-10 rule or something like that, where you save some, you spend some. I think that's super smart.
Yeah. I can see how your perspective on that is that way, because I have a cousin. I'm thinking of this next generation, right? So my cousin, he's in high school. I think he's a sophomore, and my uncle has taught him the 50-50 method, right? So whenever you get not a paycheck because he can't work, but whenever you get money for your birthday or at this age, eventually when you get a paycheck, that's the whole idea of why he's teaching them how to do it now with any money you get, whether it be for the holidays or for your birthday or however you get your income. Save some, put some in your savings account. So I understand how that's teaching him, but he's also the kind of kid who is very, very responsible, who sees that and has done that with every dollar and 50 cents that he receives.
I wish I did that.
His little sister is, just opposite. She's much more
frivolous?
artsy. Yeah, more frivolous. And just more artsy, and she doesn't really, she's just not into doing that. So it just depends on the kid, I think.
We have some viewers in here. Oh, go for it.
But that's always the hard thing. Before kids, you think that basically how you decide it's going to go is the way that it's going to go.
Correct.
And then you realize they're born with different personalities, with different interests, with different things. And I know it's the classic argument, nature versus nurture. How much is just they're born with it, and how much is the environment, which is basically when you're a kid, it's your parents telling you how it's going to be. And how much of it is that? And it's, those early years, they have their own personality, but it's how you interact with that personality. It's how you play to what motivates them. My daughter, she's 4, but she loves sweets. She loves all those things. Okay. So, you're going to do these things that we expect you to do, but, we'll motivate you. Yeah, exactly. Because at 4, I'm telling you, at 4, you think this is just the way it's going to be in my house, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
They're 4. Like, they don't get these grand concepts about you going to work every day and paying for the roof over their head. Yeah, when they're 12, 13, 14,
when you get to that age,
they kind of get that, and you can definitely throw that at them. So you have to just try and figure out who your kid is as they're born, and then play to their strengths and their weaknesses as best you can. Because remember, there's no instruction book. You're trying to figure it out best you can.
Correct.
And then it's funny, too, as you have kids and go on with that whole path, you start to look back at your childhood and you realize, hey, my folks didn't have an instruction book either. And I'm really glad they did this. They taught me about chores and responsibility and saving. And they really weren't good at this. So you realize that, they're just doing the best that they can.
Yeah. I think
we have viewers chiming in right now.
Definitely. Jessica Payne. She doesn't think that under $40 is too much money. Her daughter is 11 and gets $10 a week. During the school year, she has less, and during the summer, she's able to earn more. So I guess maybe some chores are worth some amount of money and others are worth other amounts. I think that's cool, because then if you have a financially savvy kid and you have multiple children, they're going to be like, I'm going to do 9 of the 10 of these chores and make so much more money than everyone else.
Like, you learn how to really get in there.
Yes.
What benefits you?
Exactly.
What benefits me?
That would be awesome.
Which is teaching them their, how to live their best
skills.
life. Yeah. Yes. Which in 2018, and this is, just moving forward beyond 2018, right? We're going to start to see. We're already seeing this influx of people wanting to start their own businesses.
Right.
And the idea of having a lemonade stand down the corner, it's taken to a whole nother level now. People, you see small kids now who are chefs on the Food Network who are becoming their own little entities here locally as well.
Did we talk about this?
What is
I have a real love of all kid cooking shows.
Oh, really?
Really?
I have a strong love for that too. That's
of
funny.
mine.
Oh, we can binge together.
I cry every episode because I am
They're so
proud
passionate.
of them. Yes.
So passionate.
Oh my gosh.
Between that and just between the kids, I see some kids on Shark Tank now, where it's like they're over there, they're pitching and they're talking about revenue and they're talking about income and all these things. I'm going, God, they know so much.
Little kid.
Right.
And I can't say this is for sure, but at some point, either someone sat them down or they taught them through giving them an allowance or teaching them how to save their money. So, basing it off of my experience, that's something that when I hear that, I'm going, wait, what? Kids are getting this much money? And then when someone says, oh, that's not enough, I'm going, wait, what? But in the conversation, I can understand all the perspectives for sure.
I love it.
And this brings up sort of like a side pet project of mine or pet peeve.
Yeah.
So being financially literate and understanding these things is really important, especially these days, because when you get out in the real world, everybody wants your money. They're going to find a way to get it. And I think it's really important because some of these things, the world is very complicated these days as far as how money moves. And it's really important for young people to try and learn that early because here's the thing. You get out in the real world, you start paying taxes, it's like, oh my gosh, it's so difficult. Then you go down this path where you're going to hire someone. I mean, there's people that are hiring accountants to do their taxes when they're 18, 19 years old. I mean, you don't.
So it's not that complicated.
Yeah, it's not that complicated
at that age.
Exactly, but I think they need to start teaching this stuff as required in school.
I thoroughly
because
agree with
it's really important if you want to set up. Because you don't know what they're going to get at home.
Right.
You really don't. Some parents are good at it. Some parents, they don't get it themselves, which is understandable.
Sure.
Right.
So I think it's really important with all of this as you're learning about piggy banks, take that, that's when they're really young, but take it and add a little bit more complexity and just add more to the discussion and to the education for these young people. Because when they get out of high school and they're in the real world, they go to college, you know what they do? They sign up for a credit card to get a free T-shirt or to get a little foam football. Everybody at my college, they did that. They're like, oh, where'd you get that? Oh, you just sign up for a credit card. It's no big deal.
No.
And they get it. Yeah, exactly. And then they have the infamous, $500 taco. Or you went out with your friends, you bought them lunch on a credit card, and you pay the minimum for all these years. It ends up being in interest over time. That one little thing.
$100 taco.
Yeah, exactly.
Can never pay it off.
So anyway, that's just a side deviation.
Yeah.
All this stuff is really important. Start early and keep at it through their young lives.
And even perspective at the high school level when you were considering colleges, if that's what you decide to do. It's just from my experience. I wonder, because I don't know, but I wonder if my perspective would have been different having chosen the path I did, and I'm glad I went the path I did, but if I would have known just how much and how long it would take to pay off student loans, could I become what I wanted to be and go a different route? But you couldn't tell me that in high school. It was like, no, this is where I'm going, this is where I want to be, and there is nothing. And thank goodness for my supportive as heck parents who paid for so much in college.
And you have a financially savvy husband. You chose well.
I knew someone that could really help be my financial advisor.
Amen.
No, it's definitely all worked out, but you're right, perspective, right? And learning the value of a dollar at an early age. So let us know right now. I want to read a couple more comments before we get to the next topic here. Kimberly Morgan says chores are a necessity and a teaching for them. Yeah, and a teaching for them to grow up and be responsible adults and be able to handle themselves on their own. That's how I view it. I grew up on a half acre. I had to mow that business on my own. LOL. Teaches children responsibility, says Jessica Payne. Kimberly says one more thing. Nope, no allowance here. So her whole point was just saying she never got allowance. First of all, I never had an allowance. Secondly, I'd have to refinance my house to pay my kids. And I think she has 6 kids. This is our friend.
She has an 11-year-old that wants to start her own business.
She
has a dream, she has a business idea. So I think Kimberly's doing the good thing at home.
Okay, and good morning to your mama, Mary Ann Daytil.
Hey there, Mama.
And Reggie Cepeda, I see you. She says, good morning, Kimberly. He says, good morning, Kimberly. All right, I love the conversations happening in the comments.